It's right at 7. I like to start on time. Welcome. This is John Lee with the St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association, and we have a very special broadcast tonight with our Professional Premier Series. We're picking that up, and we have a very special guest, Laura.c.lenington of Clear Solution Real Estate LLC. I want to tell you, this is a woman I'm really glad to have. I think it took us a little while to get her here, but I'm really glad she showed up. This is a woman I've personally done business with, and I recommend. She's of high integrity, and she's a very valuable member of our STL RIA community here. So, Laura, are you out there?
Yeah, I am. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, great. And I'll let you get started, and you take it away.
Okay. Well, hey, first of all, John, thanks so much for having me. I know you've asked me several times. Haven't always felt ready to share my story, but I do tonight, so I'm really excited to be here. And John, I got to throw it back at you too. Just doing business with you like we have has been a great experience. You've taught me a lot, and I appreciate the compliment because I do try to run my business with integrity. And so I appreciate that coming from you. Someone else who does that as well means a lot. So thank you. Appreciate it very much. Okay, everybody. So I kind of talked to John before everybody got in. You know, I don't really have slides or anything tonight. I've got some notes. I kind of want to share a little bit of part of my story and kind of talk about what I've been doing this year in wholesaling. My intent for tonight is just simply to basically share what I'm doing in the hopes that it sets off some light bulbs for some other people. And I say that because so much of what I do now has come to me because other people have set off light bulbs in my head. So when we share like this, it just absolutely just enhances what we do. We're able to help more people, and we all know that there's enough for all of us. We're not competition, right? I never have believed that from day one. So I just want to say this is just me trying to give back a little bit, and I want to make this conversational because if I'm the only one talking and the only one, you know, talking tonight or whatever, you guys may have questions out there that I'm not addressing. Maybe I'm not clear on something I'm talking about. Please feel free to maybe pipe up or type something in the questions. And I know John has full reign on interrupting me. I told him wave your hands if you have to, because I want to definitely hear what y'all have to say. And it's not just about me tonight, it's about us. So thanks for having me. Thanks for coming. And I guess I'll kind of get started. So my name's, Laura.c.lenington. So I've been doing real estate investing since 2014. I came into the business thinking I would be a house flipper. And I promise you before I'm done, I will be. But the very first project I ever did was I quit my job and I bought a house to renovate. Okay, scary. Would I do it again that way? No, but that's what I did. And I basically broke even on the project. I went to the School of Hard Knocks for sure. And looking back on it, I wouldn't, I don't regret any of it. But the point is this, is that when I started learning about real estate investing, when I started participating in it, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I've learned so much along the way. So one of the first things I learned about was there's rehabbing, there's, buy and hold rentals. And then there's this thing called wholesaling that I had never heard about before I literally quit my job, okay? So I'd never heard about wholesaling. Once I was figuring out what wholesaling was, or thinking I was figuring out what it was, it did not set right with me for me. It didn't feel like it matched what I wanted to do in real estate at all. But in the meantime, I'm arguing with contractors, arguing with real estate agents, trying to get a house sold in the dead of winter, blah, 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 doing all these other things that also just like weren't working the way I thought they would. So over time, I become much more open-minded, and I start talking to more people about this wholesaling stuff. Oh, you can do wholesaling without spending money. Okay, well, that sounds good because my money's in this house, and I basically just started getting into that over time. And it was very, very intimidating to me for quite a long time. And I didn't do nearly as much as I could have. But over the years, I've really come to not only like it, but love it. I freaking love wholesaling. It's so much fun. I love it because I get to help people. It is absolutely, when I first heard about wholesaling, I thought, this is kind of a snaky way to make money. Not today, not in 2020, folks. 2020, I believe wholesaling, I get goosebumps just now saying it. It is one of the most effective ways I can help people in this business, and it makes me so excited to share. So here we are in 2020. I've had real estate wholesaling, plenty of experience, you know, moderate amount of success. But my personal life, as this year started, was a little bit rocky in that my mother-in-law was actually very, very, very sick. She had been through a lot of 2019. We're very close with her, and we live very close with her. And I was spending a lot of time with family, which was absolutely where I needed to be at the time. So 2020 hits, January, February, not pretty for that. You know, we were by her bedside, just there with her, trying to help her along. My business wasn't going anywhere. And as we all know, the St. Louis real estate market in January, February isn't exactly on fire, right? So March rolls around and my mother-in-law passes on March 2nd. My business is dead in the water, but that's okay, okay? We took care of family, that's what we needed to do, and I'm grateful. Literally 1 week after we had the funeral, COVID lockdown happened. Okay, so here I am, I'm sitting in my house, we've said goodbye, we've grieved, we've tried to get our heads back on straight, and I mean, I'm ready to crush it in my business, and then we all get put on lockdown. I don't know if my boyfriend's even gonna have a job in a week. I don't know what real estate's, I didn't know, none of us knew what was gonna happen. All I knew was that my business had been dead in the water already for like 3 or 4 months. So here's where I came into this new mindset, this expanded mindset of do whatever you've got to do to make money without hurting anybody, right? So what does that mean, right? So I went from making all of these straightforward cash offers. I started really expanding my mind as to how can I make money wholesaling with creative deals? How can I stay positive through this time that we're in? Because I knew getting negative wouldn't help anybody. So basically, I just kind of created this little mantra in my mind: be creative, be positive, be flexible. Be creative, be positive, be flexible. Creative, and I just kept every single lead I worked, every single person I talked to, I started integrating creativity, positivity, no matter what. No matter what. A deal died, thank you for the opportunity. That's what I said every single time to every single body. Every time a deal died, thank you for the opportunity. I wish you the very, very, very best. If we can ever work together, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And I was flexible, okay? By flexible, I mean my mind became flexible. I started asking questions I wouldn't ask before. I started, you know, are you open to someone taking over your mortgage? Are you, Mr. Buyer, open to coming up in price? Or are you open to buying on terms? Just instead of doing these straight cash deals, which you only get maybe 1 or 2 out of 10, I was getting like 4 or 5 out of 10 in COVID by getting flexible. So in any case, here we are, we're September 1st, and I am absolutely on track to have my best year ever, 6 figures, and I was dead in the water January, February, March. So just very exciting year for me, and I'm just really happy to be here to share. In March, I put my head down and I said, I will leave no stone unturned. I will leave no question unasked, and I will not give up. And if anyone out there is working on wholesaling, maybe you haven't quite hit your groove yet or whatever, I'm just here to tell you it's very possible, it's very doable when you get the right mindset and when you start asking the right questions. So, so when I started getting creative, positive, and flexible, what happened that wasn't happening before? My deal flow went way up. So the mindset I went into every single conversation I had, especially with sellers, but really with everyone, the mindset I had was, how can I help? How can I help? And yes, of course, I want to help them in a way I can make money. But my genuine mindset was, how can I help? Maybe I need to tell them they need to talk to a real estate agent, maybe I just need to give them the hard truth in a nice way or whatever. But every single time I approached anyone, I quit thinking about me and the money I needed. That was key for me, because when I was thinking about me and the money I needed, I was coming from a place of a little bit more desperation, and whether you say it or not, people can smell it, okay? And I know John knows what I'm talking about. It's a vibrational thing. I shifted my vibration, I shifted my energy, and all I wanted to do was help people, and then my deal flow went through the roof. So I, of course, was still doing some straightforward cash offers, assignments, double closes, things like that. But when I got creative when I started trying to make sure that I was asking all the right questions to help the sellers or anybody involved. All kinds of deals fell into my lap, right? So I've wholesaled seller finance deals. I've wholesaled subject to deals. This is all this year. I've wholesaled contract for deed, most of these multiple times. I've wholesaled a subject to lease option combo. I've done option contracts, and guys, we can go into what these are. I absolutely want to do that. But I've used option contracts to help a seller when the numbers weren't coming together in a traditional way. And guys, I've done JVs with other wholesalers this year. I've done JVs with buyers, and I've done JVs with sellers. And I've made money in all these different ways, and it has been phenomenal for my business. So, so we've got a question already. I'm so glad because I can tell I'm rambling. I want this to be conversational. Let's see. The question I saw was how am I reaching my distressed sellers? And that's from Maria. So thanks. So Maria, I reach them multiple ways. I mean, I'll throw some stuff out there. So I do have a pipeline of leads, and I want to talk about that first. One of the keys to my business, I can't express this enough, is follow-up. Okay, so if you're a wholesaler, let's say you're relatively new, or let's say you're not, follow up. Whatever lead you get, follow up with them in a kind, gentle, direct way. If they're a no, still follow up with them every 6 months. Just ask them how they're doing. Ask them if anything's changed. Over time, these no's, these no way in hells turn into yes, I need help, and you were the nice lady who kept calling me and checking on me. So I get a lot of deals done because I had leads from all over the place, and I keep following up on them. So I'd say 50% of my deals, I've maybe talked to them 6 months to a year to 2 years ago, and they're just now coming together. Where I'm getting them originally is I have done mailers from ListSource lists. I have partnered with a major company in the St. Louis area who's fed me leads, and I work with them for a split. I work with other wholesalers on JV. I think I mentioned that. And guys, I just get on Facebook and post in groups. You know, is anybody selling a distressed property? Kind of all the stuff that you might hear on YouTube from the gurus who are telling you how to go get leads. I'm sure I'm missing something, but the leads will fall in your lap, you know, if you're just kind of out there taking action all the time. And again, the majority of the deals I'm getting paid on this year, I didn't get the lead this year. I got the lead last year. So if you're new to this, let me tell you, your patience will pay off, okay? You will get deals right out the gate. I mean, that's possible, right? So it's extremely possible, it's extremely doable, but when you want to start seeing people who are closing deals every week, which I've been doing for several months, again, I want to reiterate that a lot of those are based on follow-up. So when you're building your pipeline, you're building your future paychecks, I can promise you. And someone's asking, well, what's a JV? And I'm so glad you asked. I'm using acronyms and not spelling out what they are. But I do a lot of deals as a JV, a joint venture, which Jonathan, thank you for chiming in that JV means joint venture, which is just another way of saying partnering. So thanks, Maria, for saying that. So a lot of ways people joint venture in wholesaling is they find another wholesaler may have a deal. Maybe my friend Rich has a deal. He's got a house. It's in an area he doesn't do a lot of business in traditionally. And he comes and he calls me up. He says, Laura, I've got a deal. It's under contract. The numbers look good, but I would like help finding a buyer. Do you want to joint venture this with me? So what that does is we put a document together. It's just a simple one-page document. And it just says, hey, Rich, you and I are going to work on this deal together. And at the end of the day, we're going to split it up. You can split it up any way you want, but I generally do 50-50. Okay. So that's a joint venture. So then my part of the joint venture would be to go out and find a buyer, bring that to the transaction, and we both get paid at the end of the day. That's extremely traditional version. So let me talk about some of the other JVs I've been doing, which have been so much fun. And sometimes people's heads spin when I talk about them. But if you've been doing this a while, you'll see it clearly. But besides doing joint ventures with other wholesalers, we can do joint ventures with buyers. Okay, so a lot of the deals, you know, you kind of see how you can help people but I don't like to put stuff under a straight contract unless I'm extremely confident in it. So when a deal, so many of the deals I get or so many of the leads I get are actually borderline deals. That's what I call them. And what I've learned to do is not really turn away on them, okay? Because I've learned these creative ways to put things together. So what I might do is I might have a lead and I might know a buyer for it, but I think it's borderline. So what I'll do is I will tell that seller, look, I might have somebody, I'll get back to you. I go and I find a buyer that I probably already know about. I'm not doing mass marketing at this point, guys, because I don't have a contract. But I might run the scenario by this buyer, and I'll just say, hey, I know about this deal. It's in this neighborhood you purchased from me before, or I saw on Facebook you posted you like this part of the area. Here's a little bit about the deal. Are you interested in this? If they say yes, you can joint venture with them. You can say, well, how about I put this together with you and the seller, and you just pay me $2,000 at closing, okay? And then they can actually negotiate with the seller. I don't have to do it. I don't have the money maybe, or I don't have the intent to close. But if it's what's most comfortable for me, is giving that transparency to the deal. And if I know I can still get paid at closing by the buyer, why not? So that's another way you can joint venture. And I've also done this other strategy many times. Joint venture with sellers, okay? So most people are like, why, how in the heck are you doing this? Well, basically, I come across, say, a borderline lead. Okay, it's a lead, or maybe it's not even borderline, maybe it's not even a deal. But guys, I can sniff motivation, I can smell it. Okay, and honestly, a lot of the sellers that we're talking to, they're coming to us with these prices that are too high, yes or no? Yes, we see this all the time. I can just tell when it's like, this person's 3 weeks from turning. I know they are. So what I'll tell them is, Mr. Seller, like, I cannot buy your house for the price you're asking. There's no way I can justify it in my business. But look, I have a huge network of buyers that I work with. Here's what I propose. Let's just test your price. Let's see if this can work. And let me do this. Let me do a joint venture agreement with you. I might write it up for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever I think would be worth it for me and what makes them comfortable. And if they're agreeable, I just say, hey, look, I'll put it out at your price. Let's say they want $60,000 for it. I think it's worth $45,000. Okay, so I'll put it out for $60,000. Let's see what kind of response we get. So then we put it out. I've got a joint venture. I have the right to market it, and then the market will respond. And the guys, the smart buyers, they're going to make their offer anyway, even if it's lower than asking price, even if it's way lower than asking price. The people who are getting the deals in 2020 are the people who are making offers. So what will happen is I go back to the seller. I say, hey, seller, look, it's not what you wanted, and I'm sorry, but I want to let you know what I've come up with. We can put all this together. I'll get my fee at closing, and we're all done. The contract's between the seller and the buyer. I've got a JV I give to the title company, and I get a couple, $3,000, $4,000 on a deal that I would have gotten zero for. So what I'm getting at is it wasn't a deal, but I played on the motivation. Because I've worked with people so much, I know what they want. They just don't want the house. Okay. And the great thing about a joint venture agreement is they don't have to do anything they don't want to do. So when I'm able to bring them these quote unquote offers or whatever, that maybe don't match the price that they're looking for, it's their decision. They don't have to take it. Over 50% of the time they do, because the whole point is that they were starting to get the feeling of not having the house anymore. And then they went ahead and they went with it, and we got the deal done. So that's another way to do joint ventures with sellers. You can also just do joint ventures with sellers who are investors. So I've done plenty of that. Investors know the game. Get transparent with them. John knows, I've done tons of wholesale deals with investors, and sometimes people are just sick of a certain house in their portfolio, or sick of 2 or 3. Sometimes folks inherit portfolios from parents, and they don't want to be in the business, but they understand the business. Get transparent with them. Tell them what you could do. Tell them, I've got a buyer's list. All day long, I sit around and talk to buyers. Let's work out a JV to where I know it's worth my time to see if I can find someone for your deal. I've done countless deals that way. So many of these things I'm doing don't necessarily require cash offer, proof of funds, navigating an inspection period, and all of that. I'm still making great money. So We got a question. Okay, yeah, so people are saying like, okay, well, what kind of list sources are you using? Like back taxes owed? What are some of the lists that I target? Great question. So there was an error on the marketing that went out for this tonight. They called me a master wholesaler. Yeah. I'm not. I track less metrics than anybody. I can't remember the details of half my deals once they're done. Once I cash the check, I had to like go through to figure out what kind of deals I had done this year. So when you ask me, I'm not digging in necessarily on anything in particular. I don't dig in on probate. I'll do it. I'm working a probate list now, but I don't dig in on any certain thing. So I do driving for dollars. Again, I've got just tons of old leads that I've gotten from all different sources. I've done mailers for absentee owner. Of course, everyone does absentee owner. At the end of the day, it doesn't really settle in my mind what kinds of situations I'm dealing with, because they're all kind of the same to me. They're just motivated. So I don't really care what list I'm on. I'm just trying to talk to people and like listen for the real issue. So of course I've helped people who've inherited. I've helped people who are facing foreclosure. I've helped with short sales. You know, so yeah, I don't have a real target. And someone's asking if your JV has a mortgage involved, does it get paid off before you divide up the profit? So great question. So like, let's say I'm working on a deal as a joint venture and the seller has a mortgage on their property. So if the seller has a mortgage on their property, hopefully the mortgage is for less than whatever they're going to get at closing. That way they can pay it off and maybe take a little bit of money home. And so what happens is that all gets paid at closing, and then whatever I am supposed to get, whether it's through a joint venture or an assignment fee where I have a contract and I sell the contract to someone else, whatever that is, really, the mortgage doesn't really matter. All those numbers should be sort of fleshed out ahead of time. So the contract price with your seller, and then whatever your fee is, or your assignment fee, your JV, or your BC contract price, your contract price with your buyer, whatever the difference is in there, that's what you're getting to take home as a wholesaler. So if my purchase price with a seller is $50,000, and then I have a purchase price with a buyer for 60, then I basically get 10. Now, my purchase price with a buyer is 50. Let's say they owe 45. They're going to walk away with $5,000. Actually, it'll be a little less than that because they'll have to work. They'll have to pay a little bit of taxes or whatever it is. But basically, they go off with their money, or they go off with their mortgage paid off, or whatever it is. The buyer brought 60 to the table. They get the property, and I get the split in between. So that's the way that works. And then I've had many situations. In fact, I just closed one yesterday where the sellers brought money to the closing table to pay off the part of the mortgage that wasn't covered by the purchase price. So here's a really great opportunity to talk about asking the questions that you wouldn't normally ask. Lots of times I think wholesalers might get on the phone with a lead, or I say wholesalers, this could pertain to any investor. You get on the phone with a lead and you find out the lead owes, oh gosh, I have so many examples coming to my head. You find out the lead owes more than what you think you can pay for the house, okay? I think so often people just sort of think dead lead. They hang up the phone. What I have learned to do is say, how much money could you bring to closing? And I stop. And I don't say anything until they tell me. Now, oftentimes it's nothing. You know, maybe I'd say oftentimes it's nothing. But let me tell you, I'm working on a deal right now. It's not done, but I'm going to make money on this. I'm working this with a fantastic partner too. We started out with this guy looking at numbers, massive repairs needed on this house. So borderline. It's so borderline. We knew we could do something with it. After talking back to the seller 2 or 3 times, just updating him on our thoughts and on what we're thinking of, we finally get out of him. Yeah, he could bring a little bit to closing. You know, a couple grand is what we hear first. No, now he's bringing $15,000. Okay, and that's to get the deal done. So my point is that just keep talking with these people, keep asking questions. present them with scenarios, show them a way out, and see what they come back with. Because now we're going to get paid on a deal that everyone else has overlooked. It was on the market, it didn't sell, all these things, probably because nobody was just pressing this guy to give an answer for the solution that we saw. So it's just a fantastic way to get deals. I get so many deals done that other people can't, because I think it's not that they can't, it's just that they don't see it as a deal. So someone's asking, can you tell us how you did a wholesale option deal? So an option contract, let me start there. So an option contract is where I put a contract to purchase a house at a certain price. Why would I? It's an option. I don't have to buy it. So why would I make this deal? Why would I put a piece of paper out there that says you'd let me if I could, right? You know, and it's because, again, so many of these deals are borderline and they just aren't home runs. They don't even really look like singles or doubles, but it's so borderline, you got to try. I've seen so many things come together. So when a price is too high, and I can smell the motivation. That's the thing. I'm not doing this with people who are jerks. I'm not doing this with people who don't need the money or don't need the property gone. It's not always about money. Sometimes it's about, this house makes me sad. Sometimes it's a big one is my health. Okay, my kids are taking care of this for me. So what's the motivation, right? And then when the number and the motivation just don't really match, I know that motivation's there. So I'll say, I can try to find you a buyer, or I can try to buy this from you for, let's say, $60,000. I think it's worth $50,000 for an investor. Okay, I can try. So but I'm like, maybe somebody will pay $65,000. I don't know. I do an option to purchase contract. It just is an agreement between me and the seller that says, if I can, you have to let me buy it. Okay. And then if I can't, you can't hold it against me. And I write in there, earnest money can get paid if we execute the option. I don't even put any money on these things. But now I've got an actual agreement. So now I have the legal right to go market the property. And so that's what I do. I go out and I market the property to all the buyers. And I just can't tell you how many times either the seller comes down or I find a buyer higher than I thought I would, and we've got a deal. I made $5,000 on a deal that just didn't scream deal at first. While I marketed it, I wasn't sweating it, because if I couldn't close or if I couldn't put the deal together, I've made no promises. So it's just a really fantastic way to sort of have a light energy about working on a deal with someone, and also to get a lot of feedback from the market. So I tell them, like, hey, even if we can't get anything done with this option, you'll have a lot of feedback from my people about numbers and where we're at. So you can use that information going forward with whatever you decide to do. Whenever I put option contracts on properties, I'd say I close over half of them easily. And these were deals that I didn't think were necessarily deals. So my point is this: when you're putting contracts on houses and you're sure about them, you should really be able to close like 70, 80, 90%. Because you're sure, right? You got the numbers down. This deal is sweet. I can see the comps, whatever. But all these middle of the road deals, I've made so much money off of those guys because my back's been against the wall. And I'm telling you, the money is there to be made as long as you're transparent and creative. So I've just always asked myself, how can I help someone without overpromising them? And how can I get them the information that they're looking for? And how can I maybe give my buyers a good deal? So that's a great question.
Great.
We got, what are some of the common mistakes that new wholesalers make when they try to start? I've seen that some wholesalers don't acquire proof of funds. Maybe they're lacking getting a buyer's list, or not doing appropriate due diligence, underestimating repairs, overestimating ARV without good comps. Is there anything else to watch out for? Okay, so Jonathan, great question. You've hit almost all the mistakes, and I've made all of them. I've made all of those. I've always had a proof of funds because that's so easy to get. So, and a proof of funds document, for those of you who don't know, it's a document that just shows you have the money to purchase the property. And there's this thing out there in the wholesaling world that says you need to have a proof of funds. I mean, I never use it now. Nobody ever asks me. I don't get asked for proof of funds. I have one hanging around somewhere from some rich buyer partner that, yeah, they have the money and they would buy for me. And I, but the guys, these motivated sellers, maybe they should, but they don't really know or care to ask. They want to know, what are they feeling from you? Are you there to help them? If you say you can help them and you're confident, then of course they expect you to. So if you're not confident, use one of these creative things to try to get the deal done anyway, and get transparent about the fact that you're probably not going to be the one to buy it at the end of the day. You're going to bring someone in to buy it at the end of the day, and you're going to help. So, but yeah, new wholesalers. So common mistakes like, so I actually get calls from new wholesalers. They don't know I'm a wholesaler because they see me advertising houses, and I can see them coming, and everybody could see me coming too. I have nothing against any of it, okay? But I can see them coming, and I can tell that they want to wholesale. So I'll answer their questions about the property or whatever, and then I'll say, hey, are you an end buyer or are you a wholesaler? And the longer it takes them to answer, the more I know, well, you're a new wholesaler. And I love it when I occasionally get the person who's like, I'm a wholesaler. I'm like, that person's going to get it done. That person's not hiding anything. That person's not ashamed. They understand they're here to help, and they will label themselves as such if asked. It's not a dirty word. It's a wonderful thing to do. I love wholesaling. It's fantastic. It's fun. People on both sides of the closing table are ecstatic at the end of the day. Be a wholesaler. It's okay. But, I guess what I'm getting at is sometimes I feel like new wholesalers need to pretend like they've got it all figured out when they don't. Guys, I still don't have it all figured out. I promise you that. When I don't know, I immediately say, I don't know. But this is my business. I'll tell you what, I'm going to figure it out. Ask for help, but just keep going, keep swimming, keep trying. Like, if you're one of those people that flubbed it on the phone with somebody or whatever, who cares? If you overestimated ARV and underestimated repairs on your deal, who cares? Like, yeah, care, like, get better, but don't let it get you down. You're not a bad person. You're learning the business. Make mistakes. The most successful people in this entire world have failed more than they have succeeded, I promise you. And my business got way better when I got over being scared of not being right. And when I focused on trying my best to help. When your mindset shifts to, I'm going to try so hard to help that I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, you will help more people and be more successful. That's been my experience. And guess what, guys? Along the way, you're going to hit some bumps. But that's what entrepreneurship is. So new wholesalers, don't be afraid to be a little bit new. Absolutely, I suggest going out there, finding someone with more experience who you jive with and work with them. Because I'll tell you what, 50% of a deal is better, of a deal you wouldn't get is better than zero, right? You don't worry about going out there and killing it and getting 10, 20 grand deals all by yourself. I would say partner up with whoever you jive with and see what you can learn. Just don't try to know it all if you don't know it all, because people will smell it, people will know it, and then unfortunately people won't want to work with you as much. And again, I've made all these mistakes, so I'm just speaking from experience. You're not going to be good at getting ARV when you first start. I'm sorry. It takes time to learn, to practice. You got to see the market. You got to see the way it works. If you're like me, you didn't know diddly squat about repairs and construction when you started, but you still wanted to help people. You're still a genuine good person. So you just do your very freaking best until you're really good at it. And then you're really helping a lot of people. So that's my advice for new wholesalers. Just stay positive, and you're going to hear no more than you'll ever hear yes. And I promise you this, if you hear your no's with gratitude and you wish everybody the best, that so many of those no's will come back to you and put money in your pocket. Absolutely never burn a bridge, never lose a friend. This business will try you. It will try you so many times, and absolutely be the bigger person every single chance you get, because it will make you money. It will make you money in the end, I promise. And Chris Brown is asking, oh, yep.
I just said that's $1 million advice, what you just said right there. Go into it not so much for the money, but to help the people.
Guys, that's when I started making all kinds of money. I'm telling you.
That's the $1 million advice right there.
Yes. I mean, I had to change. And it's not that it's, first of all, I've always, in my opinion, I've always been a good person. Okay. I've never been out to get anybody. But when I was thinking of me first and how I can make sure, and yes, it's important to pay your bills, right? But when I was stressing over paying my bills, paying off a car, whatever it was, when I was stressing about that, and that was my mindset when I was talking to sellers, they smelled my fear. They smelled my problem, right? My problem was I got to get more deals, okay? But when I said, you know what, it's not freaking about me, right? They're calling me because they've got a problem that they can't stop thinking about. And I'm supposed to be the one to help them. And then that's why I'm supposed to make all this money. Well, then it really works. And they trust you and they'll listen to you when you come up with these more creative ideas, okay? So yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate the thumbs up on that.
That's it.
So I need to scroll up here because I saw a really great question. Oh, what training resources did I use when I first started wholesaling? Oh, would you be willing to be my mentor? Okay, so here's some really great advice I have for new wholesalers. And it's a lot of times we're starting this business without a bunch of extra money. I would say as soon as you can hire somebody, hire somebody. I think my business would have taken off way faster if I wasn't trying to train myself. Now, there wasn't as much going on YouTube and virtually, like Max Maxwell wasn't hot, all that good stuff. Hey guys, absolutely soak that stuff up. It's so good, okay? For me personally, I love to interact with someone one-on-one who can really help me. So what I did was I partnered with a lot of people. I partnered with tons of people and I just learned along the way. I had to share my profit, but I probably wouldn't have been getting the profit anyway if I wasn't partnering up. So you can hire a mentor. I'm not mentoring anyone right now. I say this this is two sides of this coin. I got too many deals to handle. Number one, that means I have a bottleneck in my business. So I'm not bragging, right? Because I should be able to handle what I've got. I need to grow a team in my business. And I don't want to commit time to anyone that I can't truly commit to them. It's not, right now my business is not mentorship at all. And I'm just trying to grow. But there are so many great people out there, guys. We've got so many great people in St. Louis who will either partner with you or mentor you. So many of them are members of this club. Stick with this club. Go back and watch some of the old videos. There was an amazing presentation given by Chris Clewine, a couple months ago, maybe 1 or 2 months ago. Man, he's fantastic. I'm pretty sure he's got a program if you're wanting to spend some money. But other than that, see if you can find some deals. Find motivated sellers and find wholesalers who are willing to do, these joint ventures or whatever. You'll learn a lot that way. I've even really slowed down on joint ventures with other wholesalers. And the reason I've slowed down on it is because what I've learned for myself over the last couple months is my problem solving ability and my motivation is highest when I'm direct to the seller. If I'm doing a joint venture with a wholesaler, they're usually the ones direct to the seller. Now, occasionally I get in that mix and I get that way, but starting out, it's just sort of, how do I help this wholesaler? And I don't mind doing it. But there's a fire that gets lit inside of me when I have the real story about what the issue is with the house. And that's where my creativity comes into play, my motivation gets higher. So what I've kind of told myself here, especially the last couple of weeks as I've been picking and choosing what to work on, I really want to be I just really want to be direct to seller as often as possible because I feel like I just do better personally that way. But I've made money with wholesalers and there's a ton of them out there that are great to partner with. I want to plug one other group because I've done a lot of joint venture work by being a part of this group and it's free. And it's Hootie's House Buyers Club, right? Rich Groves is on here, but he hosts a thing called Hootie's House. It's free. We've been doing them virtually. Chris Monroe, if you guys know of Chris Monroe, he does a simulcast once or twice a month with Hootie's House. Anyway, there are great experienced wholesalers on there every other week or every week, and they are so open to joint venturing and helping out, so that's another great place to go. Let's see. Here we are. Okay, someone's asking for like a copy of an option contract to use with a seller. I can provide one. I don't want to provide 50 million different things to people, but I would absolutely be willing to do that. So the person who sent that over, it says Simpso G. Find me on Facebook. The name on here on the Zoom is the name I use for Facebook. Friend me. Anybody's welcome to friend me on there, and just send me a private message and let me know, and I can email you one. Almost all of my contracts or joint ventures or options are one page. And then of course things can get a little bit more complex when you're working on paperwork for seller financing subject to contract for deed. Guys, I don't know a whole lot about all those things. I didn't go to a course. I didn't pay a guru to teach me. I just know how those deals work. If I need to get exact wording, it straight in my mind about the differences and the intricacies, I do a Google search. And then when I need the documents to help the buyer and the seller put the paperwork together, I go to like, is it LegalZoom? And I pay $40 because I'm going to make 4,000. So who cares? And I pay $40 for a contract for deed or subject to document, and then I can kind of get in there and arrange it for the deal the way it needs to look. So my point in saying all that is you don't have to know every single thing there is to know about subject to and contract for deed. You got to make sure that you know that your buyer and your seller are on the same page and they've got a deal, and that you helped them get there and you got paid. And then all of the rest of it can get figured out along the way. Another question, what software do I use to do my analysis? PropStream is, this person, Jonathan, says her PropStream is as good as well as Redfin. So I don't use PropStream. I mean, I hear it every day, everybody's using it. I do my ARVs because I have MLS access. So I'm one of the lucky ones. And but I know other wholesalers who don't, and they have they'll even use, look, Zillow, if you know what you're doing, you can use values off of Zillow for ARV because you're going to look at solds. Don't use the Zestimate all the time, but Redfin, yeah, is probably a good place to go. You just have to kind of learn how to put the puzzle pieces together to get your ARVs. For new people, like younger people, you guys are all into like the PropStream and the Deal Machine, and I think all of it is freaking great. Go for it. I don't use it, so I can't speak to it, but it's got to be great because I hear about it nonstop all the time. And yeah, eventually I'll probably use something like PropStream. I'm just kind of still old school for whatever reason, doing it the way I started, because it works okay for me. And then like I have a repair estimate sheet. It's just like photocopied, and it's just a rough way for me to estimate repairs. So that's kind of the way I do it. And I use my envelope formula, the formula you'll hear from anybody that talks about wholesaling. Your after repair value, your ARV times. I always start with 70%. Even if I'm in an 80% market, start with 70%, and then subtract what you think the cost of repairs are and what you want your fee to be. And then that number you get at the end is the offer you want to make to your seller. That's where you want to start the conversation, okay? So I know everybody, or most of you guys, would probably know that. If you don't know about that, find some basic YouTube videos. All of this information is out there. Someone says that
Sorry, Laura, could I ask you a quick question, actually? You mentioned something about getting MLS access. I was doing some research, and I found out that you could ask for MLS assistant access. Do you know how you would get that?
That's what I have, and basically I know people that I help.
Okay, all right.
So okay, I know that's vague. You're looking for a better answer. I don't want to show my cards, but tons of investors have their license, right? In fact, I'm probably getting licensed by the end of the year. I think over the winter I'm going to get my license. But I mean, lots of people who understand wholesaling and who value wholesaling and can use wholesaling as a part of their business have MLS access, and you can be an assistant to them and be able to legally, rightfully log on. You just got to find the right person who wants to figure out how to work with you on that, and I was able to do that. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm guessing you would like network with someone like on a Bigger Pockets, for example, or something like that.
Yeah, the person I met worked with in on that with is local. I'd say probably find someone local coming. Okay, Jonathan, I don't know how long you've been coming to like RIAs and stuff, but we have not been on computers the whole time. Like whenever things get back to normal, you can go, shake hands and kiss babies and all that good stuff. Like do it, because you'll meet so many people and you'll actually be able to establish better relationships. But I met the person that I have MLS access through at RIAs. I actually met them like first thing I ever went to. And I've done many dozens of deals with this person over the last 6 years. So, I mean, we just have a very strong relationship. We don't do every deal together, but we do a lot of deals together. And I have ML access as an assistant to him. So that's how that's been working out. So when you say, I guess what I'm saying is, I'll never say never, but I don't think you're going to go to bigger pockets, jump on a forum and find somebody. I think it's going to have to be a little bit closer relationship than that. That's just based on my experience.
Sure, thank you.
Yep.
I could chime in here if you don't mind too.
Please do, yeah.
Because I just got myself access to the MLS exactly through that way as an unlicensed assistant. Realtors don't really know that they have that because it's kind of a state-by-state thing. So you may already have friends, like real people in your network, like friends of yours that are licensed realtors, and they don't even know that they can do that. So I bet that you can approach one of your realtor friends and say, hey, the state of Missouri actually allows you to have an unlicensed assistant. And all that they have to do is submit an application. If their broker is like investor friendly, they're not going to have any issues with it. It's a $25 application fee, and then it's like $100 for the year. So it's really, really affordable. But I bet you that you already have friends who are licensed realtors in this state, and they don't even know that they can do this for you. So just ask them.
You got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yeah, Maria, that's awesome. I'm so glad you chimed in. Thank you. Because I guess I didn't have to go find it. It came to me. So you gave a better spin on that. And what else was I going to say? Shoot, I had something to add on. Darn it. I don't know, but thank you, Maria. Okay. These are great questions, guys. Someone's asked me, am I independent or part of a group? And the answer is both. And that's Dwayne. Thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, I absolutely do. I have my own LLC. I do some of my own marketing. I'm also pretty intertwined with a group called Discount Property Investor, David Dodge, Michael Slane. David Dodge is everywhere, okay? I've known David Dodge since before he had 8 billion Instagram followers. Anyway, I'm just kidding around. But I work with those guys, right? The way I've worked with that company has changed over the years. I'm still pretty integrated with them, but I do a little bit less because I'm just doing more on my own. I've learned a lot from those guys. And I think they've learned from me too here, especially since I stepped it up lately, you know. But you'll see my name on a lot of their outgoing marketing. Call me if you're a buyer that receives our emails. I'm on that. But that's not by any means all that I do. I'm not exclusive to them at all. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I partner with a lot of people, but they've been my main source of partnership over the years. Yeah. And I'm a newbie. This is Philip. Thank you, Philip, so much. Can I partner with you or have John as my mentor? I'm a sponge for knowledge. How do I find investors in St. Louis? So Philip, you're in the right place. No doubt about it. You can absolutely, anybody can bring deals to me. I just can't promise you what my capacity is right now. And actually, when I agreed to do this presentation several weeks ago, I wasn't even in the situation I'm in now. Like I actually have people like I need to get back to, and I'm struggling. And so I don't want to advertise too much. Most people would be like, send them. And in the past, I would have been like, send me what you got. But I'm worried about my capacity, guys. You can absolutely send me what you got. If I think it's smoking and I can jump right on it, I'd love to partner with you guys. But in the meantime, don't think that just because I'm on here tonight that I can just help everybody with everything, because I'm just being fair to everybody. I can't, right? My business isn't set up that way. But there are absolutely people out there. I won't speak for anybody, but just absolutely reach out to active people that you see their names and faces around. I mean, Rich Groves, again, he's got this group, and I mean, it's what the group is for, right? I've done so many deals just by showing up at the Hootie's House thing. And I mean, I'm not even on here to plug it. I'm just telling you where you can go. That's the place I've been going most recently, but any RIA, the St. Louis realtor association, keep getting on these Zooms and finding people. I mean, it's a shame we can't kind of break off in the room at the end of the meeting and get to know each other better, but this is still a great place to just kind of figure out who's who, and just reach out to people. I see it on Facebook all the time. You know, once you sort of get some investor friends, then you get more investor friends. I've got friends on Facebook, I swear I've never talked to them, that are investors. But my point is this, is like, if you've got an investor, say you Facebook friend with me and you see me talking investing with some other person, go friend them on Facebook, send them a private message, just see what they're up to, see what they're open to. And guys, for finding buyers for your deals, yeah, JV is great, but I'm telling you, Facebook has changed the buyers list thing in my mind, right? This massive buyers list that you have to have, I just don't believe it exists anymore. I think it's great to have if you have it, but don't let it stop you from trying to sell a deal. Get that thing on Facebook Marketplace. I've sold more deals on Facebook Marketplace than some of these fancy websites that I'm a part of. So the buyers are out there looking, and you know, again, you'll just be able to connect with a lot of real estate investors that way as well. So newbies, just, yeah, reach out to me if you want to. Like I said, if I have the capacity to help, I want to help 100%. If I don't take it personally. And in fact, one thing I've been trying to do a lot of lately is if someone brings something to me and I don't feel like I have the capacity to help right then, I just tell them what I would do. I'll say, call so-and-so, I'll put you in contact with somebody or whatever, because I don't believe in not sharing ideas. I just can't always be super involved. And guys, in a month, my business could be slow. So I'm not saying that like I'm off to the races and never gonna hit a rough patch, but right now that's where I'm at, is a little bit busy.
Yeah, Laura, you would mention Rich, and Rich, you're on here. Would you like to mention?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we'd like to hear.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that. So I host a local St. Louis-based meetup called the Hootie's House Buyers Club. I do have a Facebook group if you want to find us on Facebook. Anybody wants to friend me too. I don't want to plug myself or anything like that, John, but I really do appreciate that. It's free. There's no charge. It's very informal. We just kind of meet. We meet up once a month. It just kind of, again, it's a Zoom, right now it's a Zoom thing you get on and we just chat about real estate. What are you doing? What have you learned? That kind of thing. And then starting on September 15th, I do a co-hosting with Chris Monroe. Similar concept. We get on in the evening, 6 p.m. Central evenings, and we just do chit chat real estate. So thanks very much, John. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Yeah, and the whole crux of that group is literally just truly, nothing's for sale. There's never been a membership fee. Not that there's anything wrong with memberships, right? But it's just never been that way. It's just always been about everyone get together, talk about your deals, and I've partnered up with people there. So it's great resource. So glad Rich got to chime in on that.
I'd like to throw in 1-2 cents worth on Jonathan's question, is that when you're going out and you find yourself an agent that you'd like to work with, then that's the person you're going to ask for that real estate access. But at the same time, I get dedicated to those people and I do business with them so they can make money too, because everybody needs to make money. And I don't care if I dance around that, because that's what I do too. And I know who I can use, which agents do what for me, and I can just call them up, tell them what I need to go do, and it gets done. They make money, I make money, and it's all good. That's all.
Yeah, sorry, Dwayne. Sorry, could I just ask you another question? How would I make it worth their while for that? So I asked them for MLS access. What can I do to sweeten the pot for them? Do you have any suggestions?
Yes, do all your business through them so they can make money. Maybe pay them some money up front. I don't buy coffee or meals. That's the only thing. But
so
yes.
I mean, if you're working with like a traditional real estate agent who looks at traditional listings, guys, a lot of your leads are going to be better suited as listings. So people just start out because they want something quick and easy. They call an investor, or they just don't know the difference. And you can usually see right away this is better for a real estate agent. You could just make sure that you funnel all of those leads over to that real estate agent that's given you. I think that strategy alone would be worth it to them to give you the access. And Maria,
Yes.
you're shaking your head, so you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Yes.
other thing I've done is whenever I've found an opportunity that I'm going to finance traditionally, like I'm going to buy as a normal purchase, I'll have them represent me as my buyer's agent so that they can make a little bit of money. But yeah,
Yep,
to
good.
find them, to pass them off all of those leads that are not going to end up being wholesale deals. I mean, you're basically doing the legwork, the part that's hard for them.
Yeah, I heard about
And
this.
Jonathan,
Sorry, go for it, Dwayne.
the agents I work with, I guarantee them at least $1,000 commission. So if they're not getting paid, I give them all of it. If they're getting 500, it only costs me 500, and they like that. The ones I deal with. Back to you guys.
Love it. I love it. Guys, I love writing referral checks. I love partnering with people. I treat my closers at my title company like I treat them like queens and kings. You know, I mean, and you know what? Sometimes a $25 gift card that's unexpected goes a long way for people like your title company agents and the people who really get your deals done with you. And you know, Dwayne's talking about agents, you know, that would be a little higher price point, but I'm telling you, give people $500 if they helped you make 5,000, absolutely, or 10,000 or whatever feels appropriate. It's worth it, and it feels good. It feels so good to give money to people. And then guess what? They're gonna think you're gonna make even more money because they're gonna think of you next time. I promise you. They're gonna bring you more deals. They're gonna bring you more leads, and it's just this beautiful thing. So it's one of the best parts of the business. And I know we might probably only have a couple minutes left. I don't know how long we want to go. But we do have another question from Jim. He's asking me about walking through an example of an option contract. But he's saying particularly when the seller owes more on the property than it's worth and when they're reluctant to bring money to the table. So the key words there are reluctant to bring money to the table. If they can't bring the money to the table or they don't want to, there's no option contract to be had. There's no deal, okay? You've got to know if you're in a situation where there's a mortgage on the property and it's higher than what you think that the purchase price would be at closing, you just have to get that fleshed out ahead of time. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels and wasting your time. So I want to be very clear about that part. The only time I would work on a deal where the balance owed is higher than the purchase price is if I have already got buy-in, very believable buy-in from that seller. I want to have a really good warm and fuzzy about them and the fact that they're willing to do that. So I hope that answers that question. I don't want anyone to be mistaken, right? Getting creative and getting more deals done still doesn't mean that every lead is a deal. You're still going to have, you know, many things that aren't going to work. And over time, things change, right? So it would still be a great follow-up. You want to keep it in your queue to follow up on. Just want to be something you would want to put your time or energy into at that point. We have a question, how do you go about getting comps? Okay, I've already kind of talked about that. That's great. We've gone into the MLS access and stuff. This person, oh, it's Maria. Maria says, I find comps and STL are all over the place. It's really hard to write at a reliable ARV. Wondering how you're doing this, and that's important for you. Yeah, it is important, right? So let me go back to this idea of people make it sound easy, and it ain't, in my opinion. So don't beat yourself up if you're not quite right. And I think I talked about this on the Hooties thing today. I've kind of gotten away from declaring an ARV on my deals, okay? I still absolutely try to determine one. I pull up my MLS comps, or I talk to people, or whatever I do to kind of figure out what I think. I still come up with an ARV. But what I've been doing in my marketing when I'm presenting a deal to buyers lately is I'll give a range, an ARV range. And depending on the price point, it might be a pretty big range. And I'll just say, hey, look, this could be a flip or a rental. Depending on your finishes, depending on your exit strategy, ARVs could range between blah, blah, blah. And I just give a range. I'm not trying to do my buyer's job for them. I want them to figure it out, but I also don't want to be like not helpful at all. I've been also pulling like screenshots of comps and putting them like in the pictures so that the buyers, because they always come to me and they're like, well, what comps did you use? I'm just kind of like, ugh. So I've been sort of like putting pictures of the comps, a picture, like a screenshot of what I'm looking at. Then you go look up the addresses and tell me it's not a comp. I don't care, you know. I've seen so many times, guys, on my deals that I end up making money on I'll spend 3 days getting not yelled at, but getting criticized by people for my numbers being wrong, and I still make money at the end of the day. So I got over it. I got over trying to be right. Same thing with repair costs. I've been told I'm too high, I've been told I'm too low, and then I still sell the deal. And the person that bought it says, your repair estimate was right on, you know? So it's kind of like, just do your very best. Absolutely try to be accurate, figure out what that means for you. Find a repair estimate worksheet. They're all over the place. You can go find one. And experience will teach you all this stuff. You'll get better over time. So the very worst thing you could do is to not take any action at all. Make sure you're just taking action. And sometimes I remind myself I'm just kind of failing forward. It doesn't mean I'm not doing my best, but I'm just not worried about being right. I'm just worried about helping. That's my only goal. Help the people that I'm working with. So I don't know. That's my answer for that one. And John, it's 8 o'clock. I mean, how I can keep scrolling, or we can wrap it up, or
that's up to you, Laura. We allowed an hour, but I've got other time. I really like the way you've emphasized the importance of helping people and solving the problems, because that's what I've always known about you. That's really what this business is all about. Everybody calls it a real estate business. It's not. It's a relationship business and a people business. It's a problem solving business. If you're a problem solver and you go into it looking at, with that in mind, you'll make the money. The money will come to you, like you said. And if you don't focus on the numbers, like you said, you're gonna be way better off. And I'm so glad that you were able to tell us what you're doing right now, because things are that different than they were 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I got so excited to share too, because it's kind of like, I've just been in the weeds and I've been in the dark tunnel and I've been trying to figure all this out, and it works. Yeah, it's not like I had zero success before, but right. Since I've kind of just made sure I got my head on straight, COVID scared the crap out of me, guys. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, okay, I might die, but even worse, my business might fail. Yeah, I'm kind of kidding, and I'm not trying to make light of all this, but right. But guys, seriously, like, I just had to figure out what's important, and it's important to stay safe and to just spread love and positivity. And how can I do that with my wholesaling business? It's by listening to people and helping them. And then, the money came more than ever. In a year where everything's supposed to be going wrong, I'm having my best year yet. So I know everybody else can do the same thing. It's one of those situations, I've never meant it more than anyone. If I can do it, you can do it, I promise. It's just all about your frame of mind. How do I help this seller, this buyer, this wholesaler that I'm working with, or whatever? And yeah, you're gonna get plenty out of it. So
that's great.
Maria's asking, what's the name of the group we mentioned? Was that the Hootie's House? Did we cover that, Maria? Okay, she said yeah. Okay, good.
How do we find that online? Just Google Hootie's House?
Yeah, let Rich go.
Yeah, do you have a presence on Facebook, Dwayne?
I do, but I don't go there often.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you're a friend there, if you want, how's this? I'll make it easy. If you want to register to get my emails whenever we're having meetings and stuff, go to STL, like St. Louis, STLVIPlist.com, and just register there, and you'll start getting the emails about all our meetings.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll do a couple more, and I think we're actually, maybe we're not getting to the bottom, but we're getting closer. And I'm going to go kind of quick here. Could you get the documents discussed to John and then send them over to the meeting members? We could. I'm not opposed to that, but here's what I'll say is, I modify these things all the time, depending on the deal, right? So just keep in mind, good God, I'm not an attorney. Geez, I'm not a CPA. People, you may not like what I do. It's all about helping people and doing my best. Again, it was a typo when they said master wholesaler. It was a typo. It's not that I don't want to share. I'll share, but I don't want to get too exposed. If I don't want anyone to use one of my documents and if something doesn't go right, So I can share with John, but really, guys, the best thing might be just sort of reach out to me. I'll send you what I've got. I'll be like, hey, check out paragraph 6. Sounds like what you're doing is slightly different or whatever. But yeah, we can share. I can talk with John about what might be appropriate because I have to really respect what the association thinks is appropriate. But yeah, okay, so here's where I got my documents originally. And then you can go get documents. Okay, find other people. Guess who gave me most of my documents the first time? He's on this call. It's Rich Groves. Thank you, Rich. I still use versions of your contract. I've whittled it down a lot, but I've gotten, this stuff should be free. We should all be sharing this stuff with each other. So just keep in mind that if someone shares a document like that with you, they're not liable for anything that you do with it. It's all on you to do your best. Someone else is asking if I use an attorney. I have used an attorney for a couple of things, but I don't use it 99.9% of the time. Because if I get to a situation where I feel like I need an attorney, I feel like something might not quite be right. If I'm going to an attorney out of fear, there might just be something off with the deal. Now, I've used an attorney just to be more professional about a situation. So there's always a good reason to do that. And by all means, do what you're comfortable with. For me, I didn't want to pay an attorney $500 for a purchase and sale agreement. I just wanted a purchase and sale agreement. So I asked my wholesaler friend Rich what he used, and he gave me one. Would say JVs. Chris Monroe gives out free JVs. You can find this stuff. I'm not trying to not be helpful. Like I said, get in contact with me. Tell me what you want. I'll send you what I got.
You can just go on Google though. One of the things that I'd like to point out is, yeah, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars with attorneys for my documents. What I've done since then is I've taken everything which I could have just found on Google and I made it my own. Now we can make agreements and you can change them to read any way you want, as long as we're both happy. And my suggestion is keep it simple. You can find all the stuff on Google though. Uncle Google has everything you could think of, and then just make it your own.
Yep.
You know, because that's all an agreement it is anyway. I don't know. I can't tell you how many deals I've done on a napkin sitting there because we didn't have a piece of paper. And actually on sticky notes, I carry sticky notes with me. I've done deals on there, which we wrote up later. So, I mean, don't get so tied up in the document. You got to have this, you got to have that. That's not what it is. It's all about making a win-win-win deal. That's really what it's about. And
100% agree. You will learn in this business when a deal is right and when it's not right, and the paper has nothing to do with it. Because I've had people, oh my gosh, I've had people put down earnest money, sign contracts, they've gone the whole 9 yards and not shown up. I mean, it doesn't happen often, and I've really learned how to prevent that now, right? But if someone's gonna flake, they're gonna flake. They don't care if they signed a contract, and then you got to decide if you're going after them. Well, guess what? It's not usually worth it, to be honest. It's really about, do you feel comfortable with people you're doing business with? And you'll learn really, really quick when people have the right intent in mind and when they don't. And again, then the contracts are a formality. So not the most important thing. In fact, when I send a contract to a buyer or a seller or a partner, they'll oftentimes come back and they want some wording changed or whatever. As long as the intent of the deal does not change, I'll change it to read whatever they want. As long as it doesn't expose me or put me at more risk. If it's a wording thing, I don't care, because an attorney's never going to look at it. We're going to get the deal done. You know, I'm never going to be in court defending the fact of whether or not I use the word shall or should, or nobody, you know, when you're helping people, that stuff doesn't come up. So yeah. Okay. Someone's asking, preferences on title companies. I won't mention too many names. I'm going to mention some title companies I've worked with and had success with. Doesn't mean the ones I'm not mentioning are bad. I haven't worked with all the title companies, but I think Freedom Title is great. I've had a really good few experiences with them. Old Republic, I've had really good experiences with them. Copper Title, I've had good experiences with them. And then I have some mixed reviews on some others that are very well known. You're probably saying, why isn't she mentioning? It's just a mixed review type of thing. One of my things that I always try to talk about is really building a relationship with the title company if you can. You're not always going to be able to use the same one all the time as a wholesaler. But man, when you've got like that girl or that guy who's got your back at that title company, you'll get a lot of stuff done. And you got to appreciate them. That's how they become your girl or your guy. You got to make sure they know it, you know, by by telling them how great they are. Even when they tell you to stop, I don't stop. I keep telling them. And just try to build a relationship. And then, yeah, that's my thing. That's what I do.
Sorry, what was the name of the first and third title company you talked about? Sorry, I didn't catch those.
I have no idea. No, the first one was Freedom Title, and I said, I think, Old Republic and Copper Title. And I'm picking Missouri. I've done deals in Illinois in the past. Community, I love this title company. Community Title and Escrow in Alton. Just if any of you out there need something in Illinois, I just love those people. They just tell them Laura sent you. Anyway, okay. How do I market to sellers? Do I use a spreadsheet and add pictures? Marketing to sellers, I kind of mentioned that when I first started. Lots of different ways, but I kind of have got a system in place where the sellers come to me. Again, I might be paying for the lead or whatever, or I might have mailed. I do some mailings very sporadically, unfortunately, but I've done mailers and people have called in. Guys, I haven't done anything outside of what you'd hear from anybody else. Mailers. I mean, again, I get leads sometimes from Discount Property Investor. I know they're on the radio. I don't really take their leads that much anymore, but I've got a pipeline still that I work with them, and they've been on the radio. They've sent out thousands of mailers. What else? I mean, there's other stuff. They've done Google ads and all that good stuff. Driving for dollars. I can't believe I wasn't going to mention that. Driving for dollars is if you're new or getting started or in a rough patch and don't have marketing money, get in your car and drive for dollars, and then skip trace that stuff. I mean, then you're in it for the cost of gas and the cost of skip tracing, which you can get pretty darn cheap considering what you're going to get out of it eventually. I've used woke skip tracing before. If you guys have heard of wokeskiptracing.com, it's Chris Monroe's thing. I've used that. I've done my own skip tracing for free on truepeoplesearch.com. If you've got time or you want to hire somebody, use True People Search. If you're doing onesies and twosies, just go on truepeoplesearch.com. You'll get all their phone numbers, all their emails. A lot of them aren't right, but that's the name of the game, guys. And then batch leads is something I keep hearing about is really good, a good way to skip trace. So throwing that stuff out there. And oh, I love this. Oh, Maria, get it. Maria said, COVID happened for me, not to me. That's my 2020 motto. I mean, this is the mindset to have. I'm telling you, I love it. I've actually been using that phraseology for other things. Life is happening for me, not to me. When I say life, that's good and the bad and the ugly and the pretty, and it's all for me. I'm telling you, anything bad that happens to any of us, it is a freaking blessing in disguise because you get to learn from it. You get to grow from it. And it gets you where you're trying to go. I promise you, you just got to look at it the right way. So Maria, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Oh, great question about wholesaling. What's your usual due diligence period? And do you have a list you go through to find a way to help each client? Ooh, good. I should, Ken. Ken, I should have like a tree map or whatever. I guess it's kind of built into my brain right now, but it'd be a really great way for me to organize my thoughts and my options. So I would encourage people out there, as you start to get creative and start to use more options with your different deals and get creative and stuff. Yeah, come up with a way to make sure you don't forget. Because sometimes 2 days later, I'm like, oh, why didn't I ask them about this? And you call them back up and you talk to them. But those are like decision trees, and I see a lot of I say the word guru in a good way because I think those people are fantastic. But I see like Joe McCall's got one. Dave and Mike, they're doing coaching. David Dodge and Mike Slane are doing all kinds of coaching. They've got decision trees out there. So make your own or use someone else's or whatever. I just don't do that right now. And my due diligence period is something I've refined over time. And what that refers to is when you've got a contract and you need an inspection period to figure out how in the heck you're going to put this thing together. So so what I do when I'm just doing straight up wholesaling, contract to purchase, I try to shoot for 15 business days if I can get it. If I think I can get it longer, I can, but I just generally don't like to tie people up. I don't like to tie me up. If I can't get it sold in 15 business days, I probably don't have a deal, and we need to be thinking about something else. So even when I felt like I could take longer, I usually don't, because I just don't want to spend too much time spinning my wheels. So I usually ask for 15 business days. Sometimes we do less depending on the time frame or the hurry that they may be in. And but inserting that word business instead of like 15 days, you automatically get 40% or something like that longer, right? Because you're not using the weekends or holidays. So that's a great trick. Most people, you know, it's not like a trick like you're tricking, but it's just a great way to sort of extend that. And guys, here's the other thing I've been putting in my contracts that has really been awesome. I don't know, it's probably just more of a mental thing for me, but I don't ever tell someone I'm giving them $10 in earnest money. I don't tell them I'm giving them 2, 10, 20, 50. Everybody's getting 500 or more, but I'm not putting it down. So what I do is I put down my earnest money amount is going to be $500 or $1,000 or whatever it is for the house. It's usually 500. If it's a real cheap house, it's like 250. But I write in that as my earnest money deposit because it doesn't send up a weird red flag. Like, why would someone just give me $10 if they want to help me, right? No, you get 250, you get 500. And then underneath that, I write in that the earnest money deposit will be made by the end of the inspection period. So what does that do? The inspection period is when I get my buyer lined up, and then my buyer goes and puts down that earnest money deposit, which they should be doing anyway. So it's never my money. The seller's never getting more than what I think is probably fair for them. And I'm not on the hook or obligated to deposit it per the contract until the end of the inspection period. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a genius move. I just don't hear that talked about very often. I get contracts all the time from other wholesalers who are JVing with me where they've put down 10 and the seller agrees all the time. I know it happens all the time. I just don't do it. I just don't feel comfortable. And I'm like, whatever, my buyer's gonna put it down anyway. And we just do it by the end of the inspection period, and the sellers don't blink an eye. They don't blink an eye. So we should probably wrap it up because I know, I don't know how people are feeling. I know I can only listen to myself for so long, so I feel sorry for you guys.
Hey, Maria, you said you wanted to meet people. Were you talking about people to share their contacts, their contractors and things like that? Or did you just mean generally like this group here?
Yeah, generally like this group. I'm new here, so I've been here only 2 months and I don't really know anyone. And COVID has made it a little bit hard to actually meet people. You don't get to shake hands, kiss the babies.
Yeah, okay. You found them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my first RIA meeting. I'm very glad I decided to take the plunge and come here because I've met some very knowledgeable people like Laura, John, Dwayne. I was hoping, are you guys on Facebook or do you guys have any presence on LinkedIn or anything? I would really like to connect with you if you'd be interested.
Yes. Yes, we've got a site, STL RIA, St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. You can find more information on our website, stlria.com, but we are on Facebook. Yeah, go ahead and join our group. That's a good place to throw some questions and things out there. We try to keep it to where it's not a site for selling necessarily, because at first we did have a lot of people, everybody wants to loan money from around the world and all kinds of craziness. So we tried to kind of cut back on that and keep it more interactive, for the members, for like yourself. So
that makes sense.
Please join, and stay up to date. We do have the lawyers on every Friday right now during this COVID. I think we're into about our 14th or 15th week in a row, and they're willing to stay. We're getting the St. Louis court area update every Friday right now at 11 o'clock. And we also have some meetings like this. We try to bring what we can. We were unsure. It doesn't look like we're going back live this year, which is kind of unfortunate because that's one of the good things I always liked about our group. One thing with our group, we are nonprofit, so we're a little bit more about education. Nothing wrong with making profit. We all got to make a living, but we like to bring you some stuff. Education is what we really look at. So yeah, stay in touch. We probably are going to do some more lunches though. We've done one. We used to meet at Applebee's once a month for lunch, and it's a networking informal meeting. Since we've got away from that, we did one on virtual one, we did two, which went very well. And we're talking about doing that again. So keep, stay on the list, and we'll send you out more information. But there's a lot of good information we have right now. through the groups. But the groups and relationships, like Laura mentioned, this is where you find out everybody that's doing things. And locally also is I mean, you can learn stuff from gurus, nothing wrong with that. You know, I've spent a couple $100,000 myself on education, some of it good, some of it not so good. But you're really going to find out more locally here in town. See what the people, like they're on the call tonight, what they're doing here in town. These are the people, I mean, because you can go study from somebody in LA or, you know, Ohio or wherever, Florida, and that's all great. But locally, you're going to find out what's going on neighborhood to neighborhood and what people are doing here. So that's just.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Really glad. Yeah. Thank you.
What's the cost to join, John?
Oh, thank you very much, Dwayne. I really appreciate all of your help answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention we do have a meetup site too. So if you want to join us on Meetup, you can you'll get regular emails for events like this, and when we're doing Zoom or when we get back to meeting in person, you'll get those notices too.
So what's it cost, Lloyd, for them to join?
$75. You can do that on our website, stlria.com.
Yep.
You can sign up there, and that'll get you on our email list, and it'll get you a whole year's worth of membership. We do right now. It's kind of sporadic. Have a newsletter, but we usually have. I think we're the only group in St. Louis that has a monthly newsletter. And I was also going to say last Friday after the attorney spoke at 11 o'clock, we did a haves and wants because we've been getting a lot of requests. It was something that we used to do in person when we had our meetings. In between we usually had 2 speakers, and in between we did a little session where somebody's got something to sell, they could stand up and tell the group about it and give their phone number, and then they could connect afterwards or during the break. Or you're able to hand out flyers if you have a property to sell, or you have a service that landlords or wholesalers can use. It's the time to talk about it. And people were missing out on that, so we decided last Friday after the attorneys got off, and they're normally only on about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we had another half an hour of people. We had one lady that wanted to sell an apartment complex that got on and talked about it, and she got connected with somebody.
Okay. All right.
Hmm?
And Laura, you're on Facebook as Laura Lenington.
Yeah, just the way my name is here on the Zoom, guys. You can find me on Facebook. I look exactly like I do right now, but I have on a different shirt. My hair is like this.
Oh, I'll never recognize you.
Oh, got flags behind me. So yeah, I'm a little meditator in my spare time, and it really helps my business. So let me plug meditation. Meditate. I'm telling y'all. Whoo, it's a game changer. Game changer. So anyway, yeah, you guys absolutely find me, reach out to me. I'll absolutely respond in any way I can at any time. Just take action. Doesn't matter if you're doing it with me or with somebody else. Find someone you jive with and take action and help people. Help people. It'll all come back to you 10 times, and you'll be even happier than if you got rich not helping people. So just guys, thank you so much for having me on here tonight, for the amazing questions. It's just such a great feeling and to interact with you guys, and I love working with other people in this business. It's so much fun. So thanks, John, for asking me 45 times to speak to the group. And thank you for always being so kind when I said no.
Thank you for coming, Laura. You're such a valuable, well-valued person also, and a member, but thank you for sharing. This is something I just know this, the way you do business, I just knew it was something, it's from your heart. And I knew it was something you could share the right way. And we all got a lot of value out of what you did.
Thank you. Yeah, I get value from this group as well. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a good meeting. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, y'all take care. And we'll see you Friday, if nothing else, on our lawyer meeting.
Yeah.
Take care. Yep. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you all. Thanks, Laura.